Yes, it seems I'm live. Today's topic is why Linux not becoming mainstream operating system. I find name is the main issue. Having freedom and free of cost is not enough, you see. To use Linux as a daily driver for various users like general purpose user, office user, educational users, or even developers. It is my pain that students and developers are not able to taste the freedom. The main reason I find is the name itself. What do you call the operating system? Just Linux, Ubuntu Linux, Debian Manjaro, GNU plus slash Linux. If you like to call only Linux just because it is the base, what about the base like Groove, BIOS, UEFI, in short EFI, or even GNU tool? You may find this is the base of all. Second is convenience. Though many of us do not agree with me. Third, well-defined product with boundary. Let's revisit the name issue. How do like how to do things in Linux? This simple question becomes invalid. Even if you try with a specific distro, there is so much confusion, package dependency, and several methods to achieve the same. Top of that, Flatpak, Snap are other options. Actually, those are good for learning, knowledge, and further development of the operating system. But do not expect a user, any type of user in that matter, having only one system to try all those settings. I estimate a majority of newcomers left Linux after facing configuration issues. Simple issue like mounting a second drive on FS tab will not boot the system. So user thinks the system is broken and they don't even dare to try further. Another main issue is how do you do things on Linux? Simple example like taking a snapshot or a screenshot, changing the wallpaper. You don't have a simple answer for those. And those are the pain for newcomers. Forget newcomers. Let's take an example of a Go developer. Suppose I am a wannabe Go developer and I am trying to install Golang on my system. So I will try to install Go on my system and I will find there is snap apt install Go, apt install Golang Go, apt install GCC Go. So so you may find like snap info Go, but you will find like there are several snap packages and snap if you try to install using only like a simple way in simple way go installing go using snap is pretty much easy but end of the day you will find like go root and go path it is not defined properly on the like user environment variables user path variables. So let's dive into some more examples like simple let's take date. It simply prints the date. But if you print, if you type time, like it do not print sufficient information, or it will be like confusing for a newcomer, right? So if you type time date, it prints some information. Like now you get to know that time actually prints the information regarding the piped command, like date. If you see here the date command, how much time it took the date command to finish, you will get that information. And related information you will find using time command. So in my view it is not intuitive enough. I have met experienced developers, they are unaware of C and C++ variants. What do I do? Like knowledge is a journey, you know, day by day, and your knowledge increases day by day. Even after 10 years you do not know everything. So expecting one to know everything just to use the operating system, it is quite a big expectation for a newcomer. Linux is a good operating system if you want to learn, build, modify the operating system, or deploy server softwares on servers. But if you want an operating system to use as a tool, you might need a good luck. Like an example, a businessman wants to do things using the tool. That's it. They don't want to tinker around with that operating system. A student want to learn things using the tool. That's it. A developer wants to develop things on that operating system using as a tool. A developer might want to develop some things like website, database, various type of application. That's it. You must understand all developers are not operating system developers. So do not expect all of them to understand all of operating system know-how. Let's explore some convenience issue like ecosystem. Apple has the best ecosystem with convenience, adding lock up jail. Windows has their own implementation. Even Samsung, Realme has a ecosystem. By the way, what do you call the ecosystem with KD Connect that even works with BSD? See the naming issue repeating itself. You cannot call the KD Connect ecosystem, which may connect your laptop, desktop, mobile, tablet, each and everything flawlessly. You can share files, get notifications, pretty much each and everything you can expect from a ecosystem like Apple or Windows or something else. Linux has become what it is because of servers, Apache, PHP, and later on server-oriented softwares. All big companies got a stable, modifiable operating system dirt cheap. That is the reason why Linux became so big. The big truth is we are in mercy of big tech giants for our digital freedom. Only Microsoft is continuing the desktop operating system on the server. All you may see Unix, CPM, Apple server, all are dead. but only Microsoft is continuing. Why? Because of the RDP. As you may notice, they launched a cheap terminal. That means a terminal computer that gets served from the servers. That means server is on the Microsoft AWS, Microsoft Azure system, and they will just beam the operating system to you, and you will use by using the terminal. That's it. That means you don't even own, or like, you don't have anything. You just borrow that operating system as a tool. That's it. But they nailed it. The RDP protocol is fascinating for me. So that is the reason why they started killing RDP. Microsoft Windows build 1600 onwards, I remember, they started killing RDP from user. Even corporate users are not able to use RDP systems because it's better for their business. They will only sell they will only sell the RDP systems on from the Azure itself. It's hard for Linux to become a real GUI operating system to compete because of the bloated kernel Linux is having, and it is having all the drivers, network stacks, etc. built in to the kernel itself. It felt like Linux as a kernel trying to become a full-fledged operating system. As you may remember, time sharing. You may not remember, but you can find from the internet that time sharing started a long time before even the birth of Linux. The main advantage was to share the system using CLI terminal. Then we got virtual terminal and SSH. That's it. Where RDP is way more capable to share one system. I know you may find XRDP, but XRDP or equivalent is not as near or as good as XRDP, RDP. RDP and other implementations I have found, like Apple has their own implementation and KDE has some implementation, but those implementations far behind than XRDP. Okay, let me explain some of my issues. I admitted my child to school, a government one. The charge was like around 500 or 600 rupees. It's around 7 or 8 US dollar might be. One child came with his grandma, and the issue was like, even that 500 or 600 rupees was a big deal for them, because rupees 200 or 200 is like daily wages here. Teachers get their salary from government, building, electricity, food. Yes, they provide food on the school, like on afternoon. Oh, I am going the wrong direction. Somehow, good to know that schools are using Ubuntu and LibreOffice nowadays. It felt good when I remember Windows XP back in my days. We could not learn the know-how of that operating system or even the word processor. Forget about recompiling and further modification. Okay, let's come to the issue. Less than 3% of the students have a computer at their home. So, what is a computer for a high school student? A computer is like, for them, is basically mainly the maximum time they may use a computer for getting the information, browsing the internet, word processing, basic usage, as you see. But there are a thin layer of percentage where some student may want to get involved into developing things, and they may want to learn code. There is my issue only for those percentage of the students, and they don't have a good, like they don't have they don't own a system. They don't have access to system where they can tinker with systems. So the main issue is the affordability, both for school and students. If a school is having 20 i3 systems, in that budget they can get 60 RDP terminals and 5 RDP servers. Even the maintenance and electricity costs gets down. For the students, more than 60% have smartphone, 20% have a spare mobile, and 5% like have a cheap tablet, not an iPad, but a cheap tablet. Those Android system have more than a gig of RAM, but bootlogged and bloated with Google services, also known as GFs, and a lot of bloatware. So the system becomes so unusable, unbearable, unbearably slow that the students cannot do anything on that system. So you may think like, yes, we can easily flash out the system and reuse all those system, but it is bootlogged, and no one can use the maximum capability of that ARM CPU, touchscreen, camera, mic, etc. Later on, Google came up with a lineup of laptops called Chromebook. They did the same, bootlogged all those devices. It was a shock to me when I came to know like they are using Core Boot and Linux under the hood, and they made sure it remained locked in the name of security. And they did not provide a simple mechanism to unlock. Samsung, MI, Motorola, all are doing the same, except those high-end models. And what about those high-end models? People will generally hesitate to tinker with those expensive devices. Let's come to the solution. Build an operating system. The operating system I built was not distributable. When I realized how powerful the IP, intellectual property, is, and how locked and black boxed devices or hardwares can be. Above all, it takes a lot of manpower and money to maintain updates. That's why I failed. I failed like it was not all the experiences I lost. So I am trying second times. It is like a second innings for me. So I created a new business, Silicon Pin. I hope this will be a like not for profit and decentralized. That means I will ask other genius peoples like take my work, give your work, or like you build this system. This system is necessary for human beings, especially him for experience, knowledge. Those should not be locked by intellectual property. What we can do, we in theory we can fight all those big tech companies, but there is no need. We can build all the information, all the tools, all that knowledge and experience are there. We just need to package it, package it in a good way, and we'll have to provide the convenience. That's it. I think there is a possibility to make business having knowledge and experience as open as possible. So I'm trying best, and I will ask other people to do the same. On the second phase, we need two things, two type of kernel. GPIC, I would like to call it generic purpose intuitive computing, having a GUI shell in the kernel itself for desktop, mobile, tablet, fridge, etc. This kernel must have GUI functionality in the kernel itself. What Windows did in the NT era, and drivers, network stack, etc. in the user ring. We must take some reference from CPM, Symbian, Epoch operating systems. By the way, Symbian had a real-time microkernel and Windows like Notion for installer and executable. Second, we need an operating system for the AI. The operating system which can consume audio and video stream on the kernel level. You might be wondering like currently that technology already exists, but you must understand this is not the case. You may think like various mobile apps are communicating with voice, but under the hood, what it does, it goes speech to text to LLM to text to speech under the hood, which is like 50 plus years old technology. AI chatbot, STT, TTS, all technology is more than 50 years old. We just have polished it by using a lot of efficient hardware in parallel computing. In simple terms, NPU, GPU, etc. By the way, parallel computing is also not a new technology. NVIDIA is making technology proprietary. The prominent example is CUDA. Okay, it's time to make Linux and BSD more mainstream for the sake of digital freedom. Then we move on to the second phase. Bye and Pinnam.